Today we're taking a look at how to tune samples from 440 Hz to 432 Hz. The more harmonic feeling, the more harmonic tunings, the healing frequencies. How can we work with them when we work with Splice, other sample libraries? Because usually, for example, when we put into Splice 432 Hz, then you will see, okay, we have a few samples here. But yeah, it's just a few packs, and most of the stuff that we wanna use, like all the electronic sounds, synthes, guitars, whatever, they are all usually tuned to 440 Hertz. That's the standard tuning. That's where most music producers are currently working on. That's just the standard for today's music. But when we want to make music with alternative tunings like 432 Hertz, we need a few little things that we need to remember. And I've already made a very big video where I've shown a little, just a few different workflows. In this video, we're specifically looking at samples and how to tune them so that we can make music in 432 Hertz. I have prepared a little project here. It's basically a small electronic music loop. And so I have I've gone here to Splice before I record the video. And I was just dragging in all sorts of samples. Important is that when you want to work with 440 or 432 Hertz frequencies, then you need to work in A, or in general in a tuning where you have an A inside, because the standard pitch is always measured in A. And so when you press an A, for example, and you have a sine wave, then in normal tuning, you get 440 Hertz. And so that's the only thing that I was considering here, that I was looking for A minor samples. And then I was just dragging in all of the samples, and we can have a small listen. Here, for example, a little arpeggiator loop. Then I've added a little bass. Another synthy. And so, these are all of these samples right here. And all in A minor, so they also all fit with each other. Now the important thing is, when we want to tune from 440 Hz to 432 Hz, we need to change the pitch. And we need to change the pitch of around minus 32 cents. And so in doing this, I would recommend to choose the complex Pro mode right here. Usually Ableton is set to beats, but when you do that, then it creates small artifacts that we do not want when we work with melody samples. And so in this case, go to Warp, go to Pro, have minus 32 activated. Now let's have a listen. You can hear something is different. I will just quickly go back. And so, it's lower. And why minus 32 Hertz? When you go to Google, I went into this in detail in the other video. When you go to Google, you put in a pitch or a Hertz in cents calculator, you'll find out that when you tune an A from 440 Hertz to A 432 Hertz, you need to decrease the pitch of minus 32 cents. And so with that, you can then move an A down, and so that then fits to the 432 Hertz. So it's always this number that you need to remember. And and that works very easily with normal synth sounds, melodic sounds, I have to say, be a little bit careful when it comes to sounds that have a very high frequency range, that are very detailed in the high frequencies. In general, splice samples are also not always the highest quality, I have to say. And so when you now go here and you tune them down a little bit, you pitch them down, then you will lose some of this clarity in the high frequencies. And there might be artifacts, also depending on whether you're warping, whether you're changing the tempo, because the software needs to calculate a lot in order to get the sound down and to let it sound harmonic, even if you're not changing the length here. And so I would always recommend to just have a little, to have a listen whether you're losing something here. And when that is the case, then maybe work with creating these sounds on your own. That's the thing with samples. We can tune them afterwards, but we usually always lose a little bit of quality. That's also super important for the next point, for the vocals. And so I have here also a minor vocal sample from Splice. Here's the 440 Hertz version. So let's tune that down as well, minus 32. So you can hear it's still pretty good. I could hear a little bit of artifacts, which also is due to the warping. Sometimes it also helps to change the formants. So try around to play with this one. Yeah, I can always hear a little wobble in this section here. But yeah, it is okay, and so you can use it. Let's have a listen with everything together. So yeah, it is okay. It is not perfect in my ears. So when you're working with things that, for example, the voice, this is a signal that the human ear is just used to hearing all the time. And so there's no other signal that we hear or where we hear details better than with vocals. And so also when you're working with AI and stuff like that, I can always hear when a vocal is AI or not, because it just doesn't sound that real. And the same happens with when you tune vocal samples down afterwards. It's usually not the same level of realism. And so when it comes to that, when you're also want to record songs in 432 Hertz, we're recording your own voice, singer, then first tune the project down to 432 Hertz and then let the singer sing on top of 432 Hertz. That's my go-to, because yeah, you can tune them, but it doesn't sound perfect. When we take a look at the next one, I have here a simpler instrument. And so I just put in a little piano sample from Splice into the simpler. And here we also need to change the tuning, but we cannot use the transpose mode right here. We need to go to controls and detune. And here we also have the synths. And so here we also need to put in minus 32. Let's have a listen. I'll tune it down. And also here is a warp mode, so you can experiment how that sounds. That doesn't work. In this case, I even find the beats the better one. So here you can also experiment with the different modes for your signal. But that's how the simpler works. Also here, just change the tuning and then, or change the detune, and then it will get tuned to 432 Hertz. Let's have a listen whether it fits. That sounds good to me. That doesn't sound good. Let's go back. Works. Now a choir. So here. That's also a tricky signal. Let's try how that one sounds when we tune it down. Yeah, sometimes I even found to experiment with the tuning a little bit. Sometimes it's even a little bit more that you need to tune down to make it fit. But yeah, that's how it works. It's always a little bit tricky with very natural sounds because the warping algorithms just come to their edge. Let's also tune these ones down. But it is okay. It is sufficient in this case. And yeah, and here I have put in an operator just to test whether everything sounds harmonious. And so you can set this one here with the fixed to 432 Hertz. And so I just like to have a pure frequency in my track to just hear whether it really works. You can hear it kind of fits. 440 doesn't work. That's a little bit hard to hear, but for me this really helps to have kind of an anchor point. And yeah, to really just test, are we on the right frequency here? Does it all match? Is it all harmonious? Because yeah, it can get a little bit rough. Okay, so now I also have a Serum preset right here, also from Splice. And so what do we do inside of Serum? We go to global, and here we change the pitch from 440 Hertz to 432. And then let's have a listen. Let's just quickly go back. Yeah, you can hear it's changing something. Yeah, match. So always do a little check when you tune different elements. Is it still working together? Does it sound great? Does it sound weird? But yeah, usually, especially when you have this here with a pitch tracking, then you're usually very accurate and then it's usually all fine. Another category of sounds is drums. And so with drums, usually the pitch is not that relevant, like for melody sounds. And so sometimes you don't have to change the pitch. Also because of, yeah, what we already spoke about, that we're losing some of the crispiness of the high frequencies. And so always think about whether it is really necessary here to tune them down. Otherwise, you might lose some of the transients here of the kick. And so, yeah. In this case, it is all fine. Of course, in general, a kick has also, let's have a quick look. A kick also has a frequency here. So that's then the in this case we're on a G here. That's the peak of the kick. And so it can make sense to also tune that down if you want to be very precise. So -32. Let's just have a listen whether it affects the sound. It's hard to hear it, but when I just overdo it now, you can also see that the frequency goes down. So it is working, it's just not that obvious like for melody sounds. But yeah, we can put in -32 just to be safe. Next one, I put in a toms loop from Splice, and with some tops also here, it's good to check the analyzer quickly, because with toms you usually also always have some they also always have a tone to it, and so here it's also making sense to tune it down, -32. The difference is not big. So with drums it's not super relevant. Oh yeah, here, I almost skipped that one. With that one, for example, I don't really hear a tone. You can also not see a peak here really with one tone. So in this case, I would not tune the sample just to not lose anything in the sound. Yeah, for me, the melody instruments all sound perfect, exactly the way they have to sound. When they are tuned down with the vocals, I'm not fully happy. I think, yeah, when it comes to vocals, like I said, try to record them on your own. You can tune them down, it's okay. You always lose a little bit of quality. But yeah, that's how it works. 432 Hz in electronic music, in samples. If you have any questions, just comment below, and then see you in the next video. Bye bye.